Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
Alberta's Minister of Advanced Education announces a $72 million investment into post-secondary healthcare programs.
We must continue to take action to ensure that we continue to train and retain workers right here at home.
The Alberta government will be adding funds of $15 million into apprenticeship learning grants.
With on-the-job training are a key to preparing Albertans for careers in the skilled trades.
But first, we look at the recently approved NAIT tuition increases for the upcoming academic year.
It'll probably cause me to spend a lot more than I planned to, and it will not be fun.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. The University of Calgary, U of A, and now NAIT. Like everything else, tuition continues to rise in and around the province.
That's right. And thousands of students are worried after NAIT's recent decision to raise tuition and add a new mandatory fee for the academic year of 2023 to 2024. Cavell Clark joins us live from the NAIT hallways with more on that story.
Thanks, guys. Confused, nervous, and highly concerned are some of the words you can use to describe how students are feeling about this higher cost of higher education. NAIT says the reason behind the increase is that program costing is going up and government funding is going down. But students are saying they are having a harder time before the increase in paying their fees.
After working months to pay his tuition, first-year student Jaden moved to Edmonton to pursue his passion. Despite growing up in a small town, his goals are big. He hopes his love for cooking will one day support him financially. But with a tuition hike greeting him at the door, it appears to be a dream short-lived.
The fact that I'm going to have to raise even more money now to get through to my second semester over the summer, it's very worrying. You know, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to make it to that goal.
The increases will vary depending on the program, ranging between 1.83% to 10%, averaging at a 5.5% across all programs. NAIT is also introducing a new mandatory instructional fee for student technology starting the academic year 2023-2024. Athletic and recreation fees, one at NAIT and UPass support are also increasing at a total of $16.60 for the fall and winter terms. 126 programs, including 28 apprenticeship courses, will see a price hike, while others will not share the same fate.
When NAIT is planning the increases and making all the calculations, they see which programs had a higher uptake on students, which programs are getting more expensive to deliver to students, and they make an average on all of the programs.
The reality is, with rising rent fees, food prices, and now tuition hike, many students are barely staying afloat financially and mentally.
My first question is why, but are we doing it to increase council's rate and take-home money, or are we providing more services with it?
I had budgeted very carefully how much money it would require to get an education here when I first started, and unfortunately, with an increase of 5.5%, I don't think it's going to be enough. I have a job over the summer, but I think I'll struggle to break even on it.
NAIT says despite the increase, the Polytechnic's tuition rate and fees are lower when compared to other schools in the province.
Cavell, does tuition cover 100% of a program's cost now that the increase is here?
That is a good question. Even with the increase, tuition covers less than 24% of program costs. The remaining percentage or balance is as a result of government funding, ancillary operations, and training contracts.
Will there be an increase for international students as well?
Speaking earlier this week with the VP of Academics at NAIT, she says that there is going to be an increase for international students at an average of 7.1. However, it is important to note that this will only be affecting new incoming international students and not current international students at NAIT.
Thanks, Cavell. That's our Cavell Clark reporting live from our news center tonight.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
Since the beginning of the pandemic back in 2020, Alberta has been dealing with a shortage of healthcare workers. Many left the more high-stress positions of frontline doctors and nurses for less intensive jobs, and some left the province entirely for greener pastures. Alberta's UCP government is hoping to turn that around.
When we ensure that learners can access the programs and training they need, we end up with a highly talented pool of graduates who are ready to join the workforce.
The UCP is investing $72 million into post-secondary healthcare programs. The Minister of Advanced Education, Dimitrios Nikolades, and the Minister of Health, Jason Copping, announced this Monday how the upcoming budget would combat the rising need for healthcare workers in Alberta for the next 3 years. The only problem is what happens to that funding after 3 years are up.
The announcement that we've made today is for the 3 years. It's, I can't say what'll happen, in future years and if there are different decisions made with respect to budgets, but I would want to see that continue on for sure.
The UCP is also attempting to fast-track the recertification of foreign doctors to fill needs in the short term.
The Minister of Skilled Trades and Professions, Casey Madhu, provided an important update on Tuesday regarding Budget 2023 and new apprenticeship opportunities.
Alberta is already experiencing a high demand for skilled workers in many sectors.
The Alberta government will be providing a funding boost of $15 million over the next 3 years to the apprenticeship learning grants. In doing so, Alberta is creating more than 1,000 new spaces for students in high-demand apprenticeship programs.
This $15 million boost to apprenticeship learning is one of many targeted and innovative investments in Budget 2023 to attract talent, entrepreneurs, and students.
With new seats created through this funding, this means more opportunities for Albertans to connect to well-paying jobs in the coming future.
Public transit has always been a touchy subject in Edmonton. The city has a long history of people being annoyed with the construction of new LRT lines or buses not running on time. But with a surge of ridership not seen since 2019, the thing that's worrying people about transit now is crime. EPS reports that violent crime in transit areas has grown by 53% between 2021 and 2022. Edmonton City Manager Andre Corbould and the Bent Arrow Society have joined EPS to manage an issue that some would blame on a housing crisis. Chief Dale McPhee feels different.
Well, basically because there's no accountability. Like, I've been in this room how many times listening, and all we've talked about is the houselessness piece. And we haven't talked about the people that are getting overgeneralized as houselessness.
McPhee feels that EPS's new partnership will help pick out those on transit who are dangerous and those who just need help.
Social media has become a prominent part of everyday life, but with growing concerns on security within apps such as TikTok, this has some questioning the safety of their information. Concerns have been raised globally about the cybersecurity threat that TikTok poses to users. Many users download the app and accept the terms without having fully read the fine print. With doing so, users are risking the security of their information.
Absolutely. People should make no mistake, what they do online is not private. And if you read the fine print of a lot of these applications, you'll find out that they are basically getting your permission to use their data for whatever purposes they have.
Canada has already taken steps to ban TikTok off of government-issued devices, but time will tell if Canada will continue to take actions and ban the app completely.
Watching Shakespeare in the park. Riding in a hot air balloon for the first time. Being chased by a group of angry geese because you refused to share your sandwich with them. These are just a few moments we've all had at one time or another at Edmonton's own Hawrelak Park. Unfortunately for all of us, we won't be experiencing those moments for some time. Hawrelak Park will be closing for 3 years for renovations. First opened in 1967, much of Hawrelak Park's original infrastructure is still in place today, which is the reason for the renovating. The City of Edmonton's website says that throughout construction, the River Valley Trail system around the perimeter of the park will be open for users to safely enjoy the river trail system, that occasionally short-term detours of trails may be necessary, and that other amenities, including parking lots and washroom facilities, are not available during construction.
Coming up after the break, we'll hear how our Oilers and OOKS have been playing in men's hockey And we'll see how one woman is attempting to box her way into the history books.
But before that, we'll find out if we'll be putting up with nasty winter weather for much longer. Stay tuned.
I'm Tristan Motorshed, and the boxing community is seeing its very first Indigenous woman fight for a boxing title. And the OOKS men's hockey team are coming off the battle for the semi-finals. All that and more coming up in sports.
I'm Becca Warak with NAIT NewsWatch, and while we may have sunnier skies heading our way, Old Man Winter may not be packing up his bags to leave quite yet. Stay tuned for more weather around the province.
Welcome back. Spring is here, and I'm still cold, and I'm sick of it.
Adam, I'm more than sick of it, but hopefully our very own Becca Warak will let us know that it won't last for much longer.
Oh guys, I'm sorry to say we are absolutely going to be feeling it for just a little while longer. It will be nowhere near as bad as the cold snap that we were just in, but the wind chill at night might make us forget that it is actually getting warmer. However, nothing like the -22 wind chill that we had last week. So getting into our weather for the weekend, we are going to start with Calgary, looking at a high of +5 and a low of -4, with a wind chill that'll feel like -8. So not too bad, still seeing sunny skies, which is quite lovely. Sunday, we are going to be looking at kind of the same sunny skies, nice and clear, with a high of +3 and a low of -7. So going on to Fort McMurray, we are having a high of +7 with a low of -8, with a wind chill that's going to feel like -13. So bit of a drastic difference there. If anybody in Fort McMurray, all our friends over there, put a jacket on when you're outside, because it's going to be kind of nasty. Sunday, we're looking at kind of the same thing. Pretty sunny, high of +5, low of -6. Now moving on to Jasper. We are going to be having a high of +6, low of -9, with a wind chill that's going to feel like -15. Pretty gross, I will say, but clear skies, so that's nice. Kind of the same deal with Sunday. Very sunny, high of +8, and a low of -8. Not too drastic of a difference there, so tolerable, you could say. Now moving on to our homeland, Edmonton. High of +2, low of -8, with a wind chill of -12. So not horrible, still not too great, however. So if we're going out for St. Paddy's Day weekend, bundle up, honey. Now for Sunday, it is going to be a high of +2 at the low of -11. Quite the drastic difference there. So again, thoughts and prayers to everyone going outside this weekend, especially expecting spring weather. Now for the average high and lows, we're looking at a high of +2 and a low of -7. Although we can count our blessings because the record high and low, +17 compared to a low of -33 in 1939. So to all my friends out there going out on St. Paddy's Day weekend, not too bad as it could have been, especially in 1939. Hopefully by the end of this weekend though, we're not feeling too great. I'm Becca Warak, and this has been your weather.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
It's time for this week's Question of the Week, and we are partnered up with the NAIT Nugget to hear your voices and issues that affect you.
Yeah, and voicing your thoughts could win you a prize. Last week's question asked if the tuition cap increase is reasonable for post-secondary students in the upcoming school year.
Congrats to last week's winner, Miros_S. She says there should not be an increase to tuition cap. Recently, the cost of living has increased and salaries remain the same. Additionally, the amount of financial aid services like grants from the provincial and federal government have decreased in the past couple of years. Congrats to Miros_S.
This week's question is about potentially bringing more high-profile events to Edmonton. Do you think the city should pursue or spend more money on events like the Junos or the Commonwealth Games? You can submit your responses to the NAIT Nuggets Instagram page, @TheNAITNugget, by leaving a comment on the Question of the Week post. The Nugget then picks a random winner for the next week's show.
During this time of the year, pressure is ramped up for local hockey teams and sports in general. Playoffs have started for some teams, and other teams round off the regular season.
No, yeah, you're right about that. This week we've got some interesting stories in hockey, and I believe for the second time in NewsWatch history, boxing. Our Tristan Watershed has more on sports.
That's right, guys. It's been an exciting weekend in sports. Edmonton is really heating up. With the Oilers coming out of their shell, the city is starting to bleed blue and orange. And now, after 24 games, our own men's hockey team is also pushing hard to that championship win. They had a tough matchup last weekend playing against the Augustana Vikings in the ACAC semifinals, and the OOKS fought hard in a best-of-3 series. The OOKS managed to pull off 2 wins in a row, sealing their fate in the ACAC finals this past weekend. On Friday, the men were able to make a comeback to pull off a 4-2 win. And coming into Saturday, they finished the series with a 3-1 victory to end the Vikings season.
Red Deer's a really fast team. You got to slow their speed down best you can. Be good on the forecheck, good in D-zone coverage. Make our goalies only have to face the first shot and clear pucks quickly. And I think we can slow them down. I think we can do it.
The ACAC finals start this Friday with the OOKS facing off against Red Deer Polytechnic in a best-of-5 series. The first 2 games take place this weekend, with the next games happening on the following weekend. The Junos stopped in Edmonton, but so did the Juno Cup, an annual hockey game between the Canadian musicians and former NHL stars. Our Nate Fraser has more.
Musicians versus athletes. That was the sight the day before the Juno Awards, an annual hockey game to bring the city together. With the Junos being held in Edmonton, the Juno Cup comes with it, a game between former NHL players and some of the musical guests set to perform. Edmonton hockey fans got to watch former Oilers like Kyle Brodziak, Jason Chimera, Chris Joseph, Fernando Pisani, and Ladislav Schmid hit the ice.
Fun to be able to be out there and play against guys like that because they're all just good guys. Yeah, no, it's fun. There's a lot of good camaraderie going around with the athletes and the musicians, so it's fun.
With all that NHL talent on one team, one might think they would win the game, or at least not get upset in the penalty shootout held at halftime.
The game was broken into 2 15-minute halves, and both teams competed in a skills competition followed by a penalty shootout to find the best of the best. The musicians won both the game and the shootout thanks to the shootout winner, Ryan Gullen.
I think my favorite thing about when it's in a center, like a Western Canadian city or a place like Saskatoon or Regina, it's a really cool thing because the whole city really embraces it.
Not only shining a light on unlikely heroes, but great competition brings people together. What's not to love about good music and fun hockey? Nate Fraser, NewsWatch Sports.
As intense as the hockey world is getting, the OOKS aren't the only ones knocking their competition out. Local boxer Vanessa Bradford is fighting her way to her first ever title. And in doing so, she's setting a very interesting first for the world. Vanessa Bradford is the first Indigenous woman to fight for a boxing title. Vicious Vanessa is an Edmonton-born and raised boxer. Boxing had been a passion of hers from a young age and surrounded her entire life. And now, she has her eyes set on the Women's International Boxing Association's World and National Championship of Canada.
Oh man, it feels awesome. This is hard work paid off, you know what I mean? I fought my losses, my record's 6-4-2, and my 4 losses are against the world champions right now in the world, so the top 4.
Aiming to end up with a championship win, her fight for the belt takes place this Saturday at the River Cree. She'll be fighting alongside other local boxers such as Blake Anderson and Matt Johns. It's been one heck of a season for these guys, and I'm honestly really hoping they can end the year in a win. Are you guys planning on going to watch these games unfold?
I'll actually be doing the color commentary for the finals, so I'm pumped. I'm really looking forward to watching them play.
I actually suffer from constant night terrors about the NAIT OOKS mascot, so I will not be able to attend.
After the break, we'll get into entertainment and how a local woman secured a role in an Oscar-nominated film.
And our own Nora Muhammad takes us into the doughy, sugary sweet world of donut making. Stay with us for a treat.
Oh, sorry.
sorry, I was just reading some lines. I'm Sienna Shernansky, and coming up this week in entertainment, we have the opportunity to talk to a local actress who made it all the way to the Oscars. As well, Shadow Theater presents a new dark comedy at the Varscona Theater.
NewsWatch music provided by Martin Mayer Productions.
Outdoor apparel brought to you by the Don Mazinkowski Scholarship Foundation.
This week's Try This segment will satisfy your sweet and savory cravings.
That's right. Our own Nora Muhammad went down to Destination Donuts to try donut making.
Donuts. White chocolate coconut, Oreo, Snickerdoodle. What to choose, what to choose. If you're like me, desserts are your favorite and you just want to eat everything. But we're at Destination Donuts to try donut making. This unappetizing pile of dough is set to become donuts. But first, it all starts with the perfect texture.
Texture would be very light and fluffy. It would be tender in the mouth to eat, and yet it would have good structure so that it stands up under the weight of the different decorations.
After the staff started the process, we came in to put the dough through a press, cut the donut rings, and place the rings on donut screens to prepare for proofing.
They go into the proving cabinet for close to an hour. In the proving cabinet, it's nice and warm and humid, and they rise then probably going to about 3 times their volume when they go in.
Then the donuts go in the fryer and are flipped with donut sticks. After cooling, it's time to decorate with your favorite toppings, and there we are. If you want to satisfy your sweet and savory cravings, then head on over to Destination Donuts. I'm Nora Mohammed, NAIT NewsWatch.
Now, Adam, I know that you talk a lot about movies, but would you consider yourself a movie buff?
No. If I'm being honest, I don't actually watch a lot of movies. What I will do is I'll listen to just like hour after hour of just nonsense YouTube videos. But like that's more to just like drown out the sound of tinnitus and like the screams that are coming from my apartment building.
Well then, maybe you should try watching a new film that is hitting theaters next week instead of whatever that was. Our Sienna Shernansky joins us live from the studio with more.
Thanks, guys. I highly recommend that someone takes Adam out of his house next week to watch the Oscar-nominated film Women Talking at the Metro Cinema. The film features local actress from Sherwood Park, Kate Hallett. Kate was originally turned down for the role, but months later got the call securing her spot. Kate's luck didn't stop there, as she was invited to attend the Oscars, a huge opportunity for her first motion picture.
We've liberated ourselves. We will have to ask ourselves who we are.
Women Talking takes viewers on a deep discovery of a group of Mennonite women after uncovering the truth about the colony's men, drugging and assaulting them. The women must decide if they should forgive their attackers and stay, or abandon the only home they know.
I mean, I was just overjoyed when I first found out. It was an incredible project, and you just kind of knew that it was going to be really special. And, you know, the script was amazing. And to get to work with all of these incredible women and to get to work on a project like this with them was just the biggest privilege ever. So I was just so excited.
The film runs on March 24th and 28th at the Metro Cinema. As for Kate, she is planning to relocate to Toronto this summer and is continuing to audition with hopes to star in an action film next. Hopefully we will see her on the big screen again soon. From the big screen to the stage, Edmonton has a lot of entertainment on the docket. Shadow Theater presents All the Little Animals I Have Eaten this month at the Varscona Theater.
I dream of travel, experience, leisure. I have 3 roommates with tattoos on their hands. My landlord lives down.
All the Little Animals I Have Eaten follows a young, sleep-deprived film student on the worst-serving shift of her life, with the exploitation of feminism, neoliberalism, and the unattainable goal of owning a piece of real estate to call your own. This dark comedy explores capitalism, consumption, and a shred of hope.
It's a play with no set, no props, yet it deals with all the attitudes and things around fine dining and creating the environment of being in a restaurant without actually having anything to manipulate in space and just using activated images and body to portray a live environment of a bistro, for instance, or watching little animals running around the stage that aren't actually there.
If you're looking to take a break and spend an hour trying not to laugh at someone else's futile attempts to succeed in life, All the Little Animals I Have Eaten is a tragically hilarious choice of entertainment. The play runs at the Varscono Theater from March 15th to April 2nd. The Hawkinson Chef in Residence program returns to the NAIT culinary students for the first time in 2 years. 2 very established chefs in the industry are making their way to NAIT to mentor the next generation of cuisine connoisseurs. Mackenzie Mazinkowski has more on this.
Look at that. Is that your project?
2 Calgary-based co-chefs, John and Connie, are shaking things up with the culinary students at NAIT. While both have very impressive resumes and have explored their culinary craft across the globe, they are excited to return to their home province and give mentorship to students following in their footsteps.
Of course, we're chefs, so we love to be in the kitchen and cooking with all the culinary students, but I think probably the most important thing to myself and to Connie is mentorship. And it's about bringing people up and, you know, teaching some skills and some things that we've learned and being able to pass that on to that next generation.
This week-long program has the culinary students boiling over with excitement as they look forward to learning John and Connie's many unique talents and techniques.
I just assumed they're butchers, and I also took the meat cutting program, so I find that very exciting for me because I really love to know their techniques.
Connie and John are indeed butchers, a skill not many people know about them.
A skill that we have that I think is very unique is that we can skin pigs' heads very fast. And so we like to show that technique. It's one of our signature dishes.
If you'd like to taste what the culinary students Connie and John are cooking up here at NAIT, tonight at Ernest they are holding a 4-course meal. Call or email Ernest to book. Mackenzie Mazinkowski, NAIT NewsWatch.
So, are you guys excited about the new show and movie coming up?
I'm not gonna lie, those movies seem pretty depressing, but I'm still interested in watching them. It's just, I'm gonna need to talk to my therapist after.
No, like they seem like they're gonna be super good. It's just something where you watch it and then you have to call your mom after to apologize.
Tell her I say hi. Thanks, guys.
Man, I really want donuts now, and I want to go to Ernest to try whatever Connie and John were cooking up there. Everything just looked so delicious in that video.
Man, I know. I could feel my blood sugar levels rising as that video was playing, and I did not care.
Well, that's our show, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you again next week.